Some celebrities built their fame on talent. Others built it on charm. But a rare few climbed to the top with something far darker: power manipulation, cruelty, and a chilling disregard for anyone standing in their way. Today, we're exposing the 25 most evil celebrities in history. Behind closed doors, these stars hid secrets so twisted that even their closest friends stayed silent. Some destroyed careers, some shattered lives, and some committed acts so disturbing that fans still argue about how they ever got away with it. But here's the question you need to ask yourself: which celebrity on this list hides the darkest truth of all? And why was it buried for so long? Before we start, make sure you subscribe to Tic Tic so you never miss our deep dives into Hollywood's darkest stories. Now, brace yourself. The truth is far uglier than the spotlight ever showed. 25. Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein once stood as one of Hollywood's most powerful figures, a producer whose decisions shaped entire careers. His influence extended from film festivals to award seasons, and many saw him as an industry kingmaker. That dominance created an atmosphere where people felt they had no choice but to respect, fear, or obey him. His authority allowed him to control opportunities in ways few others could match. Behind the public image, Weinstein allegedly built a system rooted in intimidation and manipulation. Numerous actresses described being cornered in private meetings, pressured into compromising situations, or threatened with career-ending consequences if they refused his demands. Insiders claimed that assistants, lawyers, and executives helped maintain silence, creating a protective bubble around him. His ability to punish or reward made resistance almost impossible for many victims. When survivors finally spoke out, the impact was immediate and explosive. The revelations destroyed Weinstein's reputation, dismantled his professional empire, and exposed a hidden culture of abuse that had thrived for years. Instead of being remembered as a successful producer, he became a symbol of unchecked power and the devastating harm it can inflict. His downfall remains one of the darkest chapters in entertainment history. 24. R. Kelly. R. Kelly rose to international fame with a voice that defined an entire era of R&B. His music won awards, dominated charts, and shaped pop culture. To many fans, he appeared charismatic and larger than life, a performer whose talent made him untouchable. For years, the industry praised him without questioning the unsettling rumors circulating behind the scenes. As time went on, stories of disturbing behavior became impossible to ignore. Women described being isolated, controlled, and emotionally manipulated by the singer. Allegations included strict rules, monitored communication, and a pattern of targeting vulnerable young fans. Former associates claimed they witnessed red flags, but felt powerless to intervene because of his status and wealth. The silence around him created a dangerous environment where misconduct allegedly continued unchecked for years. When survivors finally stepped forward, the world saw the shocking extent of the hidden abuse. His career collapsed, his public image shattered, and the truth overshadowed every accomplishment he once celebrated. Instead of being remembered for his musical influence, he is viewed as a symbol of predatory behavior protected by fame. R. Kelly's legacy now stands as one of the darkest examples of how power can be twisted into cruelty. 23. O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson was once adored as a football legend, actor, and charismatic public figure. His charm and athletic achievements made him a household name, someone people felt they could trust. But everything changed when he became the center of one of the most infamous murder cases in American history. His public image shifted almost overnight, from celebrated icon to a man surrounded by suspicion and fear. Although he was acquitted in criminal court, the testimony evidence and the later civil ruling painted a far darker picture. Many believed Simpson manipulated public sympathy, used his fame to evade consequences, and maintained a disturbing detachment from the gravity of the case. His behavior, writing books, giving interviews, and appearing unfazed deepened public resentment and raised questions about his moral compass. In the years that followed, Simpson's reckless actions, legal troubles, and refusal to step out of the spotlight turned him into a symbol of arrogance and denial. His legacy is no longer tied to his athletic talent, but to the controversy that engulfs his name. For millions, he embodies the terrifying idea of someone who may have escaped justice while continuing to thrive in the public eye. 22. Phil Spector. Phil Spector was hailed as a musical genius, the creator of the wall of sound production style that reshaped the music industry. Behind the brilliance, however, he cultivated a reputation for volatility and disturbing behavior. Artists who worked with him described an unpredictable man driven by control paranoia and a need to dominate every aspect of a project. His talent made him powerful, but his personality made him feared. Spector's private life revealed even darker truths. He was known for erratic outbursts, obsession with firearms, and a pattern of intimidating women. Multiple individuals spoke of frightening encounters, claiming that he frequently used weapons to assert dominance or manipulate situations. This long history of aggression eventually escalated to tragedy, exposing the danger hidden beneath his creative genius. His final years were defined not by music, but by a shocking criminal conviction that destroyed any remaining admiration. Fans who once celebrated his innovations now remember him for his violent behavior and the irreversible harm he caused. Phil Spector became a chilling reminder that extraordinary talent can coexist with profound darkness, leaving behind a legacy scarred by fear rather than achievement. 21. Jimmy Savile. Jimmy Savile was once a beloved television host, charity figure, and cultural personality in the United Kingdom. For decades, he cultivated an image built on eccentric charm and public service, convincing millions that he was a generous national icon. His connections to hospitals, charities, and entertainment gave him unparalleled access and influence, making him appear trustworthy and larger than life. But after his death, investigations uncovered one of the most horrifying scandals in modern media history. Hundreds of survivors came forward with accounts of abuse, manipulation, and predatory behavior that spanned decades. Savile allegedly used his celebrity status to target the vulnerable, choosing victims who had no power to resist or expose him. Institutions that worked with him overlooked warnings, allowing the misconduct to continue unchecked. The revelations transformed him from a treasured figure into a symbol of systemic failure. His reputation collapsed under the weight of the truth, exposing how fame and authority shielded him from accountability. Today, Jimmy Savile is remembered not for his public contributions, but for the monstrous harm he inflicted, an enduring example of evil hidden in plain sight. 20. Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey was once regarded as one of the most gifted actors of his generation, admired for his versatility and commanding presence on screen. His performances earned awards, respect, and a reputation as a sophisticated, intelligent talent. For years, he appeared to be the kind of Hollywood figure whose work defined excellence and whose influence shaped the careers of many younger actors. Behind that polished image, troubling behavior began to surface. Multiple individuals accused him of inappropriate conduct, often involving younger or vulnerable performers. Accounts described situations where he allegedly used charm, authority, and professional power to create uncomfortable or coercive environments. Some claimed the industry had long whispered about his behavior, but few dared to speak publicly due to fear of retaliation or career damage. As accusations multiplied, Spacey's career collapsed rapidly. Projects were canceled, roles recast, and his once celebrated achievements became overshadowed by controversy. His attempts to address the allegations only intensified the public's discomfort, deepening the perception that he lacked accountability. What remains today is a fractured legacy, one defined less by his acting brilliance and more by the dark accusations that destroyed his reputation. 19. Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson built his career on shock-value theatrical darkness and a persona crafted to provoke reaction. To fans, he was a boundary-pushing artist who challenged norms and embraced chaos as part of his brand. His influence on alternative culture was undeniable, and his stage presence captivated audiences drawn to his rebellious identity. Yet beneath the performance, disturbing stories quietly followed him for years. Former partners and associates later described experiences marked by emotional manipulation, coercion, and controlling behavior. Many claimed that his public persona bled into his private life, creating environments filled with fear, unpredictability, and psychological pressure. The allegations portrayed a man who exploited power dynamics and used intimidation to maintain control over those close to him. As these accounts became public, the response was swift. Collaborations ended, investigations began, and his artistic legacy faced sharp re-evaluation. What had once been seen as edgy performance art now appeared disturbingly connected to real-life harm. Manson's reputation shifted from artistic provocateur to a figure associated with cruelty and abuse, leaving a legacy clouded in darkness rather than creativity. 18. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was once celebrated as America's dad, a warm, trusted figure whose comedy and television presence shaped generations. His family-friendly persona made him one of the most beloved entertainers in the world, someone people welcomed into their homes with admiration and affection. For decades, he embodied morality, wisdom, and stability, an image that few believed could ever be questioned. Behind this wholesome facade, however, allegations of predatory behavior spanned decades. Numerous women described encounters involving manipulation, drugging, or exploitation. Many claimed Cosby used his fame and public trust to lure victims into situations where they felt powerless or confused. The stories shared a disturbing pattern: a man who weaponized his carefully crafted image to escape suspicion and accountability. When the truth finally exploded into public consciousness, Cosby's legacy disintegrated almost instantly. The man once praised for his positive influence became a symbol of betrayal and deceit. His downfall revealed the dangers of blindly trusting celebrity personas and the ease with which power can mask cruelty. Today, Cosby is remembered not for his achievements, but for the devastating harm he inflicted. 17. Jared Fogle. Jared Fogle was once a household name, celebrated for his dramatic weight loss journey and his role as a national spokesperson. His story inspired millions, and he was portrayed as an everyday hero who transformed his life and encouraged others to do the same. This uplifting image made him widely trusted, giving him access to media appearances, charity work, and public admiration. But behind that friendly persona, Fogle hid a disturbing private life. Investigations later revealed a pattern of predatory behavior involving minors, shocking the public, who once viewed him as a symbol of positive change. Authorities uncovered evidence showing he exploited vulnerable individuals and used his fame to mask vile actions. Former associates claimed they noticed red flags but struggled to believe someone with his reputation could be capable of such cruelty. When the truth emerged, Fogle's entire public identity collapsed. The inspirational figure turned into one of the most reviled personalities in modern media. His downfall became a chilling reminder that charm and relatability can hide monstrous intentions. Today, his name is no longer associated with self-improvement, but with betrayal, manipulation, and profound harm. 16. Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer entered Hollywood as a charismatic leading man with charm, good looks, and the promise of becoming a major star. His performances in acclaimed films earned him respect, and many saw him as a rising figure destined for long-term success. His clean, polished image made him appear approachable and trustworthy, reinforcing the belief that he represented a new generation of refined actors. That image quickly shattered when multiple women accused him of disturbing and controlling behavior. Accounts described emotional manipulation, coercive interactions, and alleged fantasies that crossed deeply troubling boundaries. Messages and testimonies portrayed a pattern of exploiting power dynamics, leaving his accusers feeling frightened or dehumanized. The allegations painted a stark contrast to the public persona he had cultivated so carefully. As the controversy spread, Hammer's career unraveled. Projects were canceled. Studios distanced themselves, and his reputation deteriorated rapidly. Public fascination turned into horror as more details surfaced, forcing people to reconsider everything they once admired. What remains now is a haunting reminder of how darkness can lurk behind even the most polished facade. 15. Chris Brown. Chris Brown rose to fame as one of the most talented R&B performers of his generation, admired for his dancing vocals and stage presence. His early career positioned him as a global sensation, someone whose potential seemed limitless. Fans embraced him as a youthful, energetic star with charisma strong enough to dominate the music industry for years to come. Everything changed when his violent attack on Rihanna became public, shattering his carefully crafted image. The incident exposed a pattern of aggression, anger, and troubling behavior that insiders claimed had been building for years. Additional controversies followed, reinforcing the perception that he struggled with impulse control and used his fame to escape consequences. Many began questioning how much of his public persona had been masking deeper issues. Despite attempts at rehabilitation and public apologies, Brown's reputation has never fully recovered. His career continues, but it exists under a cloud of skepticism and moral debate. For many, he represents the dangerous intersection of celebrity violence and a lack of genuine accountability. His legacy remains deeply divided, dominated by the harm he caused, rather than the talent he displayed. 14. Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski is often described as one of cinema's most brilliant directors, known for crafting psychological masterpieces that influenced generations of filmmakers. His artistic talent earned him global acclaim, prestigious awards, and a reputation as a visionary storyteller. For decades, many in Hollywood defended his genius, believing his contributions to film placed him among the industry's elite. But behind the artistic brilliance lies a deeply troubling history. Polanski was charged with unlawful conduct involving a minor, an event that shattered the admiration surrounding his name. Instead of facing justice, he fled the United States and lived abroad for decades, creating an atmosphere of outrage and disbelief. Supporters and critics clashed publicly, but the allegations continued to overshadow his entire body of work. Today, Polanski remains one of the most divisive figures in entertainment. Some still praise his filmmaking, but many view him primarily through the lens of his crimes and his refusal to confront them. His reputation stands as a stark reminder that artistic talent does not erase moral responsibility. The darkness surrounding his actions will forever define his legacy more than any award or masterpiece he created. 13. Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson was once celebrated as a charismatic leading man, an acclaimed director, admired for films that became cultural landmarks. His heroic roles made him a global star, and his directorial achievements earned him respect among critics and peers. For years, Gibson embodied Hollywood success, blending box office power with artistic credibility. That image collapsed as recordings and reports exposed violent rages, hateful remarks, and troubling personal behavior. His outbursts revealed a pattern of anger, discrimination, and emotional volatility that shocked the public. Allegations of domestic abuse added another layer of darkness, painting a far more disturbing portrait than the heroic characters he portrayed on screen. Fans struggled to reconcile the man behind the scenes with the image they once adored. Although Gibson attempted several comebacks, his reputation never fully recovered. Each public appearance reignited debate about whether he deserved forgiveness. For many, his legacy is now defined by cruelty, prejudice, and personal chaos rather than cinematic achievement. The contrast between his former glory and his public downfall remains one of Hollywood's most dramatic falls from grace. 12. Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen rose to fame as a charismatic actor with natural comedic timing and undeniable screen presence. His roles in television and film earned him massive popularity, making him one of the highest-paid actors of his era. Audiences adored his confidence, humor, and unique charm, placing him at the center of some of Hollywood's most successful projects. Behind the scenes, Sheen's life spiraled into chaos, fueled by substance abuse, reckless behavior, and violent outbursts. Reports described a pattern of dangerous conduct involving drugs, emotional manipulation, and disturbing aggression toward partners. His unpredictable public meltdowns and controversial interviews only intensified concerns about his stability and judgment, revealing a darker side far removed from his polished on-screen persona. As scandals mounted, Sheen's career unraveled quickly. Contracts were terminated, relationships deteriorated, and the industry distanced itself from his volatility. The man, once celebrated for his talent, became a symbol of self-destruction and cruelty. Today, his legacy is remembered less for his comedic brilliance and more for the harm, chaos, and instability he brought into the lives around him. 11. Danny Masterson. Danny Masterson became widely known through his role on a beloved sitcom where he built an image as a laid-back, charismatic performer. His success on television opened doors to more opportunities, and he gained a loyal fan base who viewed him as a talented and unproblematic figure in Hollywood. For years, his public presence appeared calm, controlled, and far from controversy. That image collapsed when multiple women accused him of violent and coercive behavior. Their stories described traumatic encounters and a pattern of intimidation that left long-lasting psychological scars. Allegations also included claims that powerful organizations and insiders shielded Masterson, helping him avoid scrutiny for far too long. The accusations painted a chilling picture of someone who exploited trust and used connections to evade consequences. As the legal battles unfolded, Masterson's career dissolved. Networks severed ties, former co-stars publicly distanced themselves, and the support he once enjoyed evaporated almost instantly. His legacy now stands in ruins, overshadowed by the gravity of the allegations and the suffering described by the survivors. Instead of being remembered for his acting, he is viewed as a disturbing example of cruelty hidden behind a friendly TV persona. 10. Jared Leto. Jared Leto built a reputation as a daring actor and the enigmatic frontman of a popular rock band. His artistic commitment, dramatic transformations, and intense performances earned him critical acclaim and a passionate fan following. To many, he represented the ideal of a fearless creative, mysterious, talented, and dedicated to pushing boundaries in every medium he touched. However, beneath that artistic reputation, troubling stories circulated for years. Fans, former followers, and industry insiders described alleged manipulative behavior, inappropriate interactions, and unsettling power dynamics. Accounts portrayed Leto as someone who blurred the lines between admiration and control, seeking out vulnerable individuals and using charisma to his advantage. The allegations created a sharp contrast to the thoughtful, visionary image he projected. As more voices stepped forward, public perception shifted dramatically. Collaborators distanced themselves. Journalists examined long-ignored reports and fans questioned the integrity of their idol. Leto's career continues, but his legacy grows increasingly divided. For many observers, the accusations cast a long shadow over his achievements, marking him as a figure whose darkness may have been overlooked for far too long. 9. Woody Allen. Woody Allen is widely regarded as one of the most influential filmmakers in modern cinema, known for his intellectual storytelling and distinct creative style. For decades, he enjoyed enormous respect, winning awards and shaping the careers of countless actors. His films became cultural staples, and his public image centered on brilliance, sophistication, and artistic depth. That reputation was shattered when long-standing allegations involving a family member resurfaced. The accusations described disturbing behavior and a deeply unsettling pattern within his personal life. Supporters and critics clashed intensely, with some insisting he was misunderstood, and others convinced that his fame had shielded him from accountability. The controversy exposed a troubling complexity behind the intellectual persona he cultivated. As debates grew louder, Allen's legacy fractured. Studios distanced themselves, actors refused to work with him, and audiences re-evaluated his films through a darker lens. The once celebrated director became a polarizing figure whose personal life overshadowed decades of artistic achievement. Today, many remember him less for his cinematic contributions and more for the moral questions that continue to follow his name. 8. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was one of the most influential entertainers in history, a performer whose voice, dance style, and artistic vision reshaped global pop culture. His talent made him a legend, adored by millions, and celebrated as the king of pop. His music broke barriers, his videos revolutionized the industry, and his fame reached levels few artists have ever achieved. To many, he seemed almost mythical. Yet his private life was surrounded by disturbing allegations that repeatedly overshadowed his legacy. Several families accused him of inappropriate behavior, involving minors, creating a storm of controversy that lasted for decades. Jackson consistently denied wrongdoing, and legal outcomes varied, but the sheer volume of accusations left the world divided. Supporters insisted he was misunderstood, while critics argued that fame had protected him from accountability. After his passing, the controversy only intensified as documentaries reignited old claims and sparked new debates. His legacy remains one of the most polarizing in entertainment history. Some view him as a victim of relentless scrutiny, while others believe the allegations reflect a darker truth behind his eccentric persona. His name continues to spark fierce discussion about celebrity power and the morality behind idolizing flawed icons. 7. Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin became famous for his commanding voice, intense performances, and sharp comedic talent. His roles in film and television earned him admiration, and his political impersonations made him a cultural sensation. Baldwin long enjoyed a reputation as a versatile actor who could shift from drama to comedy, effortlessly capturing the attention of audiences worldwide. However, his public life was repeatedly marred by explosive anger controversies and confrontations. Recordings revealed verbal outbursts toward family members, while numerous incidents involving paparazzi highlighted a pattern of aggression. The tragic shooting incident on a film set intensified scrutiny, with investigators examining safety failures and Baldwin's responsibilities. Even as he maintained his innocence, public debate surrounding his temperament and accountability grew louder. These events reshaped how audiences viewed him. Once admired for his charm and talent, Baldwin became associated with volatility and poor judgment. His career continues, but his reputation remains deeply complicated. For many, he symbolizes how unchecked ego and emotional instability can darken even the most successful Hollywood careers. 6. Dr. Phil McGraw. Dr. Phil McGraw rose to fame as a television personality offering guidance, tough love, and psychological insight to millions of viewers. His authoritative presence and direct approach made his show a massive success, convincing audiences that he was a trustworthy figure committed to helping vulnerable people. Over time, he became synonymous with televised self-improvement and emotional intervention. But numerous former guests and staff members painted a different picture. They described environments where individuals were pressured, exploited, or manipulated for ratings. Allegations included claims that vulnerable guests were provoked into harmful situations, that addiction cases were mishandled, and that the show prioritized sensationalism over genuine care. These accusations clashed sharply with McGraw's carefully crafted image as a compassionate advisor. As stories circulated, public perception shifted. Critics argued that he profited from people's trauma while presenting himself as a healer. Supporters insisted he brought important issues to light, but many viewers questioned the ethics behind his methods. Dr. Phil's legacy now sits in a moral gray area, admired by some but seen by others as a figure who used authority and psychology to exploit rather than help. 5. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein cultivated an image of extreme wealth, high-level connections, and mysterious influence. He moved within elite social circles, befriended powerful figures, and presented himself as a brilliant financier. His private island, luxury homes, and lavish lifestyle created an aura of exclusivity that made many people believe he was untouchable. For years, his world appeared to be built on privilege and limitless access. Behind that facade lay one of the darkest criminal networks in modern history. Epstein was accused of trafficking minors, manipulating vulnerable girls, and coordinating a system of exploitation that involved numerous enablers. Survivors described being coerced, threatened, and controlled, revealing a horrifying pattern of abuse that spanned continents. His connections allegedly allowed him to avoid consequences for far too long, raising questions about who helped protect him. Epstein's arrest and sudden death only deepened public suspicion. Many believed he carried secrets powerful enough to destroy reputations across politics, business, and entertainment. His story remains shrouded in mystery, controversy, and unanswered questions. Instead of wealth or success, his name now represents corruption, manipulation, and one of the most disturbing scandals ever uncovered. 4. Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate became a massive online figure known for confidence, luxury, and unapologetic opinions that resonated with millions. His bold persona, lavish lifestyle, and aggressive self-help teachings built a devoted fan base that viewed him as a leader challenging societal norms. His rise on social media turned him into a polarizing cultural phenomenon almost overnight. However, as his influence grew, so did the accusations surrounding him. Multiple women claimed he manipulated, controlled, or emotionally abused them, describing environments filled with fear and coercion. Legal authorities launched investigations into allegations of trafficking and exploitation, painting a picture of a man whose charm and confidence masked far darker behavior. Critics argued his teachings encouraged misogyny and harmful power dynamics. The controversy transformed Tate into one of the most debated figures of the decade. Supporters insist he is a victim of political targeting, while others see him as a dangerous influencer who weaponized fame. His legacy remains uncertain, overshadowed by criminal allegations and the cultural divide he created. For many, he symbolizes the frightening power of digital influence turned toxic. 3. Nick Carter. Nick Carter rose to fame as a member of one of the world's most successful boy bands, admired for his youthful charisma and musical talent. Millions of fans adored him, and his clean-cut image helped define an entire era of pop music. As he transitioned into adulthood, he remained a recognizable figure whose presence evoked nostalgia and global admiration. Yet behind the polished image, several women accused Carter of assault and predatory behavior, with allegations spanning many years. The detailed accounts described emotional manipulation, force, and circumstances where victims felt powerless against his fame. Carter denied all accusations, but the consistency of the stories raised serious questions and created public division. Supporters defended him, while others argued that celebrity status allowed him to avoid scrutiny. As lawsuits and investigations unfolded, Carter's legacy fractured. The beloved pop star became a figure surrounded by controversy and moral uncertainty. His career continues in limited form, but the troubling accusations follow him everywhere. For many, the contrast between his boy-next-door persona and the stories told by accusers creates a disturbing portrait of hidden cruelty. 2. Jimmy Savile. Jimmy Savile was once celebrated as one of Britain's most recognizable television personalities, praised for his eccentric charm and extensive charity work. For decades, he was considered a national treasure, someone trusted by families, institutions, and even hospitals where he volunteered. His fame granted him unparalleled access to vulnerable communities and elevated him to an almost untouchable status. After his death, the truth unraveled into one of the most disturbing scandals in media history. Hundreds of survivors came forward, describing years of abuse, manipulation, and predatory behavior. Investigations revealed that Savile exploited hospitals, children's wards, and charitable organizations to target victims. Worse, multiple institutions were accused of ignoring warnings, allowing him to operate freely under the protection of fame. The revelations shattered his legacy and exposed a catastrophic failure of accountability. Savile transformed from beloved entertainer to a symbol of systemic corruption and institutional silence. Today, his name represents horror, betrayal, and the darkest misuse of celebrity influence. His case remains one of the most chilling reminders of how evil can thrive behind fame and public trust. 1. Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein stood at the top of Hollywood's power structure for decades, producing award-winning films and shaping careers with a single decision. Many viewed him as an unstoppable force, a man whose influence controlled casting, publicity, and the future of aspiring stars. His intimidating presence commanded respect in public, hiding the true depth of his control behind closed doors. Numerous women later accused him of predatory behavior, describing coercion, manipulation, and threats that spanned decades. Survivors recounted being cornered in hotel rooms, pressured into unwanted encounters, and silenced through legal intimidation. Industry insiders admitted that rumors had circulated for years, but were suppressed by fear, wealth, and an intricate network of protectors. The scale of the abuse painted Weinstein as a figure driven by domination, not desire. His downfall triggered a global reckoning, exposing how one man used power to commit long-lasting harm. Weinstein's legacy collapsed overnight, transforming him into a symbol of systemic abuse and the dangers of unchecked authority. Today, he is remembered not for movie success, but for cruelty, trauma, and the movement his victims sparked, one that changed Hollywood forever. Hollywood has always tried to hide its darkest faces behind bright lights and red carpets. But the truth has a way of slipping through the cracks, revealing the power, cruelty, and manipulation that shaped the lives these celebrities destroyed. If you want more deep dives into the hidden side of fame, make sure you subscribe to Tic Tic, because we're only just getting started. Tell us in the comments which name on this list shocked you the most. Thank you for watching. And remember, in Hollywood, not everything that shines is gold.